Nejeeb, what about you?
I'd say, like Chidi said, Big Brother Nigeria was really huge. It trended for several weeks, and later in the year, of course, we had the World Cup. The World Cup may have been the biggest trend this year. We have to check that out. But then I think the World Cup was really huge. Then coming down towards the end of the year, the middle or end of the year, we had issues of mostly political issues. We had NHIS, we had NSARS. NSARS was huge. It was big. It was about police brutality. Then the Shiites trended several times. The Shiites trended when they protested or when they had their walks. They trended. Falz, the bad guy. I think the Sweet Boys trended, but the This Is Nigeria video was huge. It was.
It seems Falz was in the picture.
Yeah, Falz was a lot in the picture. Then towards the end of the year, also, unfortunately, we had Tosin Bucknor, who passed away. There are several things that trended this year. This year was really trader money trended when
the vice president.
Yeah, vice president was going around sharing money. Then the elections that happened, AKT elections, Fayose, Osun elections, and the way the results went. So there's a lot. 2000, I don't need to talk about 2009. It's a huge trend.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Buhari, Oshomole was trending for various reasons in the political sphere. Then recently, Burna Boy, his show was huge. I think the two biggest events I saw on social media were Google Week sometime in the middle of the year, and Burna Boy, Burna Live, his event was really big on social media. Then entertainment stories, lots of movies came out, right?
But I'm surprised. Like none of you mentioned the Falcons. Like they won the Africa Cup of Nations.
It wasn't so big on social media, but it was. I think it was a big talking point in 2018. I did talk about it, but then compared to the Super Eagles, they didn't trend like 20% of what the Super Eagles trended. So because we are talking about trends strictly, I would omit that. But if we're talking about the highlights of my year, them winning that was really was great. But then come to trends, this is what it is. So
okay, let me again bring Victor. Victor, I mean, so we just talked about the Super Falconets. You actually, you hinged more on the political, but what about the sporting events or maybe like even entertainment? Because it seems it's a potpourri of everything at the moment.
Yeah, if we talk about sporting events, you remember the bobsled team?
Yeah.
Represented Nigeria for the first time in the Winter Olympics, and it was this year, in 2018. And when we talk about entertainment, the political scene seems to be one of the most entertaining scenes. When you see someone like Dino Melaye hanging on a tree, according to him, or we're just to sing all of those songs. But again, many Nigerian artists were on the big scene this year. People like Wizkid, Davido, breaking YouTube views and streaming records. And you see someone like Burna Boy, Mr. Easy, they were online. You see events like the Experience trending, and many of things that trended this year. For me, beyond trending, I will be asking what is the impact on the life of the average Nigerian. And I mean, maybe these are questions we should be asking so that before we give value to things, we should ask how much value are they giving to us, so that we do not, I mean, it's good to have entertainment, it's good to have fun, but again, we must be conscious of its impact on the social life and the welfare of the people.
So let me just push that question to Chidi. Chidi, how impactful were all these trends, to Nigerians?
So I always say while Twitter or social media is like a microcosm of Nigeria, it actually affects a whole lot of popular culture outside the social media space. You're on the street and you're hearing people saying that then the Russians, these are people you feel like they don't even have access to phones, but then they are saying all these things. So yeah, the impact was very, 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 very huge. Like the impact was very, very huge. See Buhari and Jibril, for example. It started on social media, and if you see the kind of places to discuss these things, you know how tiny rumors, how jokes turn into realities. it's very huge. I do also, while it's Premium Times that carried it, it led to a minister actually resigning. And I feel like it should, if Nigeria was a serious country, I feel like it should lead to, further than that, it should lead to actual policies to ensure that certain people who are in government, who are parading themselves as having fulfilled all the have to necessarily fulfill to be in government, all of them should be exposed and made to resign, and if possible, tried criminally. So it's the effect went beyond just social media. Look at DSS at NAS, for example, when NAS basically was held hostage by members of the DSS. It led to the DSS guy being fired. Some people say it's because Osibanjo wanted to, change perception and basically make people feel like he was on top of things. But it led to the guy being fired, and we don't heard about an incident like that anymore.
That's
so
right.
Social media, it impacted while it happened on social media, it impacted actual real life.
All right, I'll have to say thank you for joining us, Chidi Okereke from Lagos, Nigeria, social media influencer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, as well as Victor Bamishaye, a medical doctor in Kiev, the Ukraine. Thanks as well for joining us on the program.
It's always a pleasure.
Of course. Well, just to wrap up and quickly, I mean, they talked about these impacts. I mean, how would you say, in your own estimation, quickly, please?
In terms of let me talk about the economics of it. There is a lot that is changing in Nigeria because of what trends on Twitter. People didn't know that about 79 million Nigerians had dropped into extreme poverty till when the discussion was so huge on social media that it spilled over. So people began to ask questions, and government is responding to the VP debate, although it was watched all over the country, but the discussion on social media really analyzed some of the facts, because people came on TV, on national TV, and said things that were not true. It was via social media that we were able to go into those things and say what really is the fact, and this spread into the streets. So I think the impact is huge.
What about you?
Same also. I think the impact is huge. Then also we will see social media coming to the aid, to rescue of Nigerians, like NSAS. Started on social media, and eventually the vice president was aware and asked the IG and took action about it. So I think for us going into 2019, I think we should use more social media in effecting change in our national issues. So
not just for entertainment.
Of course, definitely.
Exactly. Well, so let's just hope that the use of social media, of course, the fruitful use of social media will continue into 2019. I have to say thank you for joining us on the program, Michael Abimboye, online editor of the New Telegraph, as well as Nejeeb Bello, social media influencer. And of course, hope to see you guys more in 2019 in the studio as well as on the Hangout.
Sure.
But we'll take a break, and in a moment, we'll return with the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the year 2018. Please stay with us.